angels, ministering spirits. Watch this. Then he says, is Michael not the prince of Israel? You don't get this. In other words, Michael is only given to Israel, not to anyone.
What's going through your mind when you see this?
I was dumbstruck, I guess you could say. I was in shock. I'd never seen anything like it before with my own two eyes.
This is blowing my mind.
As Corey Heron gazed at the image in the sky above South Carolina, he was struck with awe.
I have done what I can. Now, give him a reason to live.
Have you ever wondered if divine forces are protecting us? In today's video, we delve into the astonishing testimony of an Israeli soldier who claims to have seen the hand of God in action. Could Michael and his army of angels be safeguarding Israel? You'll hear accounts from enemy soldiers who fled in terror, convinced they saw angels protecting the land. But that's not the only mystery we'll uncover. What happens when an Arab terrorist group encounters a divine presence instead of their intended targets? Their shocking experience with Jesus Christ will leave you speechless. We are Jesus Eternal Aura. In today's video, you will have appropriate answers to all the questions above. Before you know what happened, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for all the latest updates. First, let us understand who Archangel Michael is and why he is considered a protector of Israel from the destruction by its enemies. In the vast panorama of religious beliefs, Archangel Michael stands out as a powerful guardian and tireless protector. In biblical texts and various spiritual traditions, Michael is known as the leader of the heavenly armies, a divine warrior who battles against evil and defends the righteous. Archangel Michael is mentioned in several passages of sacred scriptures as one of the principal archangels, a celestial being endowed with great power and authority. For instance, in Daniel 10:13 and Jude 1:9, Michael is depicted as a defender of the faithful and a fighter against the forces of darkness. His protection of Israel is deeply rooted in historical and divine promises. Throughout the scriptures, Israel is portrayed as God's chosen people, destined to fulfill a divine purpose on earth. In Deuteronomy 7:6-8, God declares his love for Israel and promises to protect and bless this special nation. Additionally, Michael's protection of Israel is closely linked to biblical prophecies regarding the Jewish people's role in redemptive history. For example, Zechariah 12:3 states, "On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves." This prophecy underscores the challenges Israel faces and the divine intervention required to protect it. In the Hebrew Bible, specifically the Old Testament, the prophet Daniel provides significant insights into Michael's role. After a period of fasting, Daniel had a vision where an angel identifies Michael as the protector of Israel. In Daniel 10:13, Michael is referred to as one of the chief princes who assists in spiritual battles. Later, in Daniel 12:1, the text speaks of Michael's role during a time of unparalleled trouble, stating, "At that time Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise." These references highlight Michael's enduring role as a defender of Israel, both in contemporary times and at the end of days. The New Testament also elaborates on Michael's role. The book of Revelation describes a celestial war where Michael and his angels fight against the dragon, symbolizing Satan. Revelation 12:7-9 narrates, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." This passage illustrates Michael's ultimate victory over evil and the expulsion of Satan from heaven. There is often confusion regarding the interpretation of 1 Thessalonians 4:16, which states, "For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first." Some interpret this to mean that Michael might be a representative of God or even Jesus Christ himself, either literally or symbolically. This interpretation stems from the similarities between what Jesus and Michael are described to do as leaders of God's angelic army. The fact that the Bible refers to a single archangel and describes Jesus with the voice of an archangel has led some to conclude that these figures might be interconnected. The appearance of the archangel has caused a lot of surprise and wonder to many people around the world. These are some opinions and comments on social networks that I have collected.
I have seen Archangel Michael in my dreams many times.
The appearance of the Archangel Michael is the manifestation of Israel's victory. Israel will never decline again.
So, who would be the Archangel Michael? The Archangel Michael is a figure of great significance across various religious texts and traditions. His identity is distinct and singular, as suggested by the title, The Archangel, which specifically refers to Michael. In the Book of Enoch, Michael is designated as the Prince of Israel. The Book of Jubilees presents him as the angel who instructed Moses in the Torah. The Dead Sea Scrolls depict Michael in combat against Belial. Over centuries, numerous testimonies have affirmed Michael's protective presence in times of danger and conflict for Israel. His interventions are seen as manifestations of God's love and faithfulness towards his chosen people, thus fulfilling divine promises. According to Deuteronomy 7:7, God chose Israel not because it was the largest or most powerful nation, but because it was the smallest. This choice underscores God's unique relationship with Israel, which he nurtured through countless challenges and victories. Despite Israel's privileged status, Jesus often expressed disappointment with it, particularly in passages like Matthew 23:37-39, where he laments over Jerusalem's resistance to his efforts to gather its people. Throughout history, Israel has faced dispersion and diaspora, notably in 586 BC and AD 70, but it has never been annihilated. With divine assistance, Israel has triumphed in many battles and has continuously rebuilt itself, accumulating wisdom and intelligence. Modern Israel stands as a technological and military powerhouse, fulfilling prophecies like those in Leviticus 26:7-8, which speak of small numbers triumphing over much larger forces. This strategy of God's to exalt the smallest and weakest with victories over the greatest and strongest is a recurring theme in the history of Israel. In recent times, the intervention of angelic forces in support of Israel has been reported. These accounts echo the historical narrative of divine support and protection for Israel. After the horrific extermination of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust, the United Nations facilitated the recreation of the nation of Israel in 1948. This allowed the Jewish people to once again have a homeland. Immediately following its establishment, Israel faced aggression from surrounding Arab nations intent on its destruction. These nations, with authoritarian regimes, opposed the presence of a democratic state aligned with Western interests in their midst. However, these aggressors underestimated the divine protection that has always surrounded Israel. Since ancient times, God has acted supernaturally in favor of Israel, ensuring its survival and victory against seemingly insurmountable odds. This divine intervention is seen as a way to confound the powerful and exalt the humble, demonstrating that true strength comes from God's support. The recent appearance of angelic armies aiding Israel, as well as reports of Jesus appearing to protect groups of Christians from terrorist attacks, are seen as contemporary manifestations of this divine protection. These events underscore the continuing fulfillment of God's promises to his people. The supernatural help Israel receives is a testament to its enduring significance in God's plan, ensuring that it will never be entirely eliminated and that Satan's attempts to destroy it will fail. This divine protection was evident even in the aftermath of World War II, as the world witnessed the recreation of Israel. Despite facing immediate and overwhelming threats from neighboring nations, Israel not only survived but thrived, achieving remarkable advancements in various fields. This resilience and success are attributed to the unwavering support from God, who has always acted to safeguard his chosen people. The Yom Kippur War is often remembered for the miraculous survival and resilience of Israel in the face of overwhelming odds. The war began when Israel, anticipating an imminent invasion from 3 fronts by 7 neighboring Arab countries, decided to strike first. On the first day of the conflict, Israel had only 3,000 soldiers positioned against 40,000 Syrian fighters, making their survival seem almost impossible. The origins of the conflict can be traced back to the deep resentment held by Arab nations over the establishment of Israel as an independent nation after World War II. The armistice signed by Arab states recognizing Israel was seen as humiliating, fueling a desire for revenge and a reclamation of lost territories. With significant military support from Russia, including sophisticated and destructive weaponry, Egypt was rearmed and prepared for conflict. On October 6, 1973, the Egyptians launched a surprise attack in the Sinai Desert, while the Syrians attacked in the Golan Heights. The timing was particularly strategic, as it coincided with Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, when Israelis were engaged in prayer and fasting. Despite the element of surprise and the advanced Russian-supplied equipment used by the Arab forces, miraculous events were reported that contributed to Israel's defense. One such event involved 300 Syrian tanks advancing towards just 3 Israeli tanks. Astonishingly, the Syrian tanks turned back when they were within half a kilometer of the Israeli positions. When questioned after the war, the Syrian commander explained that they saw angels flying over the Israeli tanks and a hand appeared in the sky, signaling them to stop. He stated, "What could we do when God asked us to stop? We left." This was just one of many similar testimonies from Israel's enemies. Another remarkable account comes from Captain Gerson Solomon during the Six-Day War. He recounted a harrowing battle on the Israel-Syria border where he suffered serious injuries. Surrounded by hundreds of Syrian soldiers preparing to kill him, he suddenly witnessed an intense light enveloping him and heard the voice of God, reassuring him that he would survive. Miraculously, the Syrian soldiers fled instead of attacking. Later, UN observers informed him that the Arab officers had seen thousands of angels appear before them, preventing them from shooting. This divine intervention saved Solomon's life and left a profound impression on all who heard the story. Such testimonies highlight the extraordinary and often inexplicable events that have occurred during Israel's conflicts. These stories are not just tales of survival, but are seen as evidence of divine protection. The belief that God intervenes to protect Israel has been reinforced by numerous accounts from both Israeli soldiers and their adversaries. The Yom Kippur War, like the Six-Day War before it, serves as a powerful reminder of Israel's resilience and the belief in its divine protection. Despite facing seemingly insurmountable odds and sophisticated weaponry, Israel's survival and victories are often attributed to miraculous interventions. These stories continue to inspire and reaffirm the faith of many in the enduring promise of protection for the nation of Israel. God's actions are indeed impressive, brothers and sisters. His promises to the people of Israel are countless, a testament to his unwavering commitment to protecting his chosen people and ensuring their victory over their enemies. In Isaiah 41, God declares, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish." Isaiah 41, 10-11. This passage highlights God's enduring promise to support and defend Israel. One extraordinary example of divine intervention involves a young Muslim who planned an attack against new Christians during a baptism in the Middle East. However, something miraculous occurred. Jesus appeared to this would-be attacker, leading to his immediate conversion. The young man later testified that Jesus intervened, stopping the attack and revealing his message of peace. Our goal was to eliminate everyone who was in the sea during the baptism, hoping to instill fear among Christians and halt their evangelizing efforts in our region, he said. However, the terrorists arrived too late and found the Christians inside a bus after the baptism service. Determined not to lose the opportunity, they opened fire on the vehicle. Suddenly, a massive sandstorm formed in front of their vehicles, halting their advance. As they exited their cars and continued through the storm, Jesus Christ appeared amidst the swirling sand. His eyes were like burning fire, and with a powerful voice, he asked, "Why do you persecute me? Resisting the pricks will only cause you pain," echoing his words to Paul in Acts 26:14. The young man described the encounter as terrifying, yet transformative. Jesus' voice produced a strong wind that knocked them to the ground, scattering their weapons. Stricken with fear and unable to speak, they experienced a profound sense of peace they had never felt before. Jesus appeared again and said, "I have not come to destroy the world, but to save it. Go in peace," before disappearing along with the dust storm. This miraculous event led to a remarkable change in the young man and his companions. Despite the rejection of the Messiah by many Jews, God's promises to Israel remain steadfast. As long as his people are in danger, God continues to help them. This story of divine intervention during the planned attack on Christians is just one example of how God's presence and power manifest in times of need. His actions not only protect, but also transform, bringing peace and salvation to those who encounter him. These testimonies serve as powerful reminders of God's enduring love and commitment to his people. They reinforce the belief that, no matter the circumstances, God's promises hold true, providing strength, protection, and hope to those who trust in him. There are many stories in the Bible that recount the liberation of the people of Israel, but one in particular closely mirrors the narrative I just shared. This story is found in the book of Kings, where the Syrian army decides to invade Israel, besieging the entire city. One of Elisha's servants, who was terrified, went to the prophet Elisha, one of the greatest prophets in the Bible. Seeing his fear, Elisha prayed to God, asking him to open his servant's spiritual eyes. God answered his prayer, and the young servant saw that the mountain was full of chariots of fire and heavenly troops. The angels had come to fight for Israel, protecting them from the Syrian army. Often we find ourselves in situations similar to those of ancient Israel, surrounded by enemies and adversaries attacking from all sides. However, the Word of God reassures us that with Jesus' presence, his glory is perceived even in the darkest times. Isaiah 62 states, "Darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples, but the Lord rises upon you and his glory appears over you." No one is exempt from facing daily challenges. We all need to overcome various obstacles. Without seeking divine guidance, our strength quickly fades, leading to financial problems, marital conflicts, difficulties with children, relationship issues, health concerns, and other troubles that can make us despondent. A Bible passage I hold dear and often remember when facing tough times at home is Proverbs 4:18-19. "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. But the way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. This passage teaches us that no matter how challenging our journeys may be, if we follow God's path, He will illuminate our way. In other words, God can transform our struggles into victories, our despair into joy, and make us resilient like Jesus. Conversely, those who ignore divine guidance often find themselves stumbling in darkness. God allows us to face challenges not to harm us, but because He expects us to grow and mature in faith. When life gives us reasons to feel discouraged, we must remember not to give up or break our commitment to God, because He still believes in us. Now is the time to deepen our search for the Lord's presence and adopt a warrior attitude, for we are often closer to victory than we realize. Reflecting on the stories of divine protection over Israel and Jesus' surprising encounter with a terrorist group, we see the constant presence of God in our lives, even in our darkest moments. These stories lead us to understand that God is always ready to act on our behalf. For example, during the Yom Kippur War, Israel faced an imminent invasion from 3 fronts by 7 neighboring Arab countries. On the first day, Israel had only 3,000 soldiers against 40,000 Syrian fighters. Yet, against all odds, they survived. The origins of this conflict can be traced back to the resentment held by Arab nations over Israel's establishment post-World War II. Egypt, rearmed by Russia, launched a surprise attack on October 6, 1973, during Yom Kippur. Despite the advanced weaponry and element of surprise, miraculous events were reported. For instance, 300 Syrian tanks halted their advance on 3 Israeli tanks, with the Syrian commander later claiming they saw angels and a hand in the sky signaling them to stop. Another extraordinary account comes from Captain Gerson Solomon during the Six-Day War. Surrounded by hundreds of Syrian soldiers, Solomon was miraculously saved when they fled, claiming to have seen thousands of angels. These testimonies reinforce the belief in divine protection and intervention. Similarly, a young Muslim man who planned an attack against new Christians during a baptism experienced a life-changing encounter with Jesus. The terrorists arrived too late and found the Christians inside a bus. Determined not to lose the opportunity, they opened fire. Suddenly, a massive sandstorm halted their advance. As they exited their cars, Jesus Christ appeared in the storm, asking, "Why do you persecute me? Resisting the pricks will only cause you pain," echoing his words to Paul in Acts 26:14. The young man described the encounter as terrifying yet transformative. Jesus' voice knocked them to the ground and scattered their weapons. Stricken with fear and unable to speak, they experienced a profound sense of peace. Jesus then appeared again and said, "I have not come to destroy the world but to save it. Go in peace," before disappearing along with the dust storm. This miraculous event led to a remarkable change in the young man and his companions. These stories highlight the extraordinary and often inexplicable events during Israel's conflicts and personal trials. They are not just tales of survival, but evidence of divine protection and transformation. Such accounts inspire and reaffirm the faith of many in the enduring promise of God's protection. If this message has touched your heart and inspired you, please share it with your friends and family. Leave a comment below to tell us about your experiences and how God has acted in your life. Don't forget to support our channel by liking the video and activating the notification bell. These simple gestures help us spread this message of hope and faith to more people. May the presence and protection of God always be with you. Until the next video, God bless your life.